was cut off. But anyway. Alright, so to finish up with number 10, I drew a line M, meaning that the line name is M, a point T on the line that I just made, so point T on line M, and then a line perpendicular through point T. And I didn't say to label that line, so it's okay if it's just a plain line. Now I go back and I put my square right here. Because if I don't put that there, then I don't know what the angle is. If I don't label what the angle is, I don't know. This symbol right here means perpendicular. Perpendicular means 90 degrees. So that was number 10. This is quiz 2, by the way. Quiz 2 review. Alright. Next up, number 12. I gave you a triangle. I told you that the angles were A, B, and C. That A is equal to 75 degrees. B is equal to 60 degrees. And find angle C. Okay? Now notice what I've given you. I haven't given you individual numbers. I gave you actual degrees, which means that I want you to come in here, and we know that it's going to equal 180 total, and find this missing angle right here. So I take my 180 minus 75 minus 60 equals 45 degrees. Angle C is 45 degrees. Same thing for 30. A, B, and C. I tell you that A equals 60, B equals 60, find C. Okay? 180 minus 60 minus 60 equals 60. Almost every single person got this right. I'm very proud of everybody because remember this. Remember the triangle is always 180 degrees. Big step. Next up, a lot of people, because this was the last thing that we learned before the quiz, didn't quite catch on, but we're going to go over it again and again. Alright, so I've got my triangle. I've got my line. These two lines are parallel to each other. I tell you on the example that they're parallel. I give you that this little side, so from here to here, this little point right here is 3, and this is 1. I'll even make that a big fancy 1. And there to there is 1. So this is like two little segments put together. I'm going to get this out of here because it's kind of a lot to look at. But I just wanted to point out these are just two segments. And that's a 3. Okay. And the right hand side is x and 1.5. Now notice how this looks like a little triangle right there all by itself. So if I told you that these two sides are equal, you would just set them equal to each other, right? Now again, notice that this is just a big triangle. Okay, so if I took out this little line in the center, it's just one big triangle. So I would add up the sides, right? Because I want to know how long is the left-hand side. Well, it's 1 plus 3 because it's divided into two segments for whatever reason, but it's 1 plus 3 for the whole thing. The right-hand side, well, I'm finding x, so if this was just a regular segment, then I would just search for x, and I know that this side is 1.5. Okay, next, it's going to be little triangle on top of big triangle. So little on top of big. Alright, so I've got 3 on my left-hand side over big, meaning the entire triangle, the big triangle, which is 3 plus 1. On the right-hand side, my little triangle is just x. So if I'm looking at it just like this, my little triangle is just this little x right here. The whole thing is x plus 1.5. Next, I'm going to cross multiply. Remember, cross multiplying, meaning take the bottom times the top over here. So this is 3 plus 1, which is 4. So I'm going to make it 4x is equal to, I'm going to do the same thing this way. So 3 times x plus 1.5. I'm going to distribute my 3. Shift this over. Like so. Alright, so now I have 4x is equal to 3x plus 4.5. I'm going to subtract my 3x. Now it's just a regular problem. So now I have x is equal to 4.5. So again, this is all old stuff. This is definitely old stuff. This you've learned before, cross multiplying. So cross multiply. Alright, so the only new thing here, because we've seen triangles too, the only new thing is that I'm telling you to put the little triangle information over the entire triangle information. So the big triangle, the entire thing. And that's number 14. Alright, next, a little Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so, I don't know why I'm looking down there because paper's in my hand. Alright, so number 15. I give you a right triangle. I tell you it's a right triangle because I have a little perpendicular angle here. I tell you this is A, this is C, and this is B. I tell you that A is equal to 3, B is equal to 4, and I want you to find C. The Pythagorean theorem again is C squared equals A squared plus B squared. My handwriting is always funny. Okay, so I've got C squared is equal to, there's my A, 3 squared plus 4 squared. Now again, notice what I'm asking you for. I'm not asking you for total degrees, we're just looking at the sides. So when you see something like this, and you see what I've given you, you need to recognize that we're using the Pythagorean theorem. You need to see that this is what we're doing right here. So when you see this, automatically think this formula, the Pythagorean theorem. The really big long P word that nobody likes. It's a tiny little formula, but you can get this. Okay. So we're plugging in. So C squared equals 9 plus 16. Alright, so 9 plus 16 is 25. I'm going to shift over. I love that I've discovered I can move this thing. Who would have thought? Okay, so C squared is equal to 25. I take the square root of both sides. Now again, this is C times C. C squared is C times C, right? If it was 4 squared, it would be 4 times 4. So I have two C's. I can take one out. I'm going to use the red marker. Equals 25. 25 is 5 times 5, right? I have two 5s. C equals 5. The end. Okay. Alright. Next, up to number 16. Now for 16, this is kind of a trick because if you could figure out the first one, then you could figure out the second one very easily. Because I tell you that this is 3, and I want you to find B, and this is 5. Well, the last one we figured out, A was 3, B was 4, and our C was what we found, which was 5. So you could have cheated a little bit, not really cheated, but taken an easy way out and just been like, well, I already know it's 4, but we're going to work it anyway. So I've got my Pythagorean theorem, which is 5 squared equals A squared plus B squared. I don't know B, so that's what I'm looking for. 5 squared is 25. 3 squared is 9 plus B squared. I subtract 9. I get 16 is equal to B squared. I take the square root of both sides. Busting out the red marker again. Okay, this is 2 B's. So I get a B is equal to 16 is 4 times 4. I don't need to break it down anymore because I have two 4s. I'm going to write this down here. 4 equals B. Alright, so I'll just go like this. B. Okay? Alright, on to 17. I gave you a square. It's a square, I promise. And I told you that this is A and this is B. I tell you that A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10. The area is one side times the other side. Okay? So this is 5 times 10 equals 50. The area of our square was 50. That's all we needed to do was just multiply 5 times 10. Now next step, the perimeter equals side plus side and so forth. Okay, so I have 4 sides. Now, since I told you this is a square, right, so this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side. So this is 5, this is 5, this is 10, and this is 10. So I have 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 10 equals 30. The perimeter is 30. So the area and the perimeter are not going to be the same number. Alright, so that's 17. Next step was 18. I wanted you to find the area of the triangle. I tell you that this is A, B, and C. A equals 7, B equals 4. The area, a lot of people just multiply these two by each other. That's not what it's for a triangle. Triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Now the height in this situation is A. So I have 1/2 times 4 over 1 times 7 over 1. This is 28 over 2 or 14. So a lot of people got this part down. They took the 7 times the 8, but they forgot to multiply it by the 1/2. For 19, I gave you a square. I told you that all the angles are equal. I said every angle is what? Every angle is 90 degrees. That's all I wanted for that one, just to let me know that every angle is 90 degrees. Okay, for 20, I gave you 2 parallel lines. And I told you that this line was perpendicular and this was 1. This is not 1 as in 1 degree, this was angle 1, because the question asked the measure of angle 1 is equal to 90 degrees. That's what I was looking for. Most everybody picked up on this, but just in case you didn't, remember, parallel lines, corresponding angles have the same measure. Okay. Back page. You have a square. The sides are all, or the corners are all labeled with a letter. Alright, so I have A, B, C, and D. I tell you that 4x and 20, 5x, and 3x plus 10. I want you to find x and segment AB. That's my phone. Okay. Alright, so x, because this is a full number here, I can just set up 4x is equal to 20. Divide by 4. X is equal to 5. Alright, so now I know what my x is. So now I know x is 5. AB, so that's just this part up here. I don't even need to know this bottom part. That was extra. That was tricky. I tried to trick you. Alright, so I know AB segment is equal to 5x. I know what my x is now. So it's 5 times 5. So AB segment is equal to 25. That's what I wanted for that problem. Alright, 22 was graphing, and I'm going to show it to you like this. Okay, because I have the little lines nicely drawn on here. So I've listed my A, B, C, D, E, and F points. I want you to tell me the coordinates of the points. So for A, I go over to the right 2 points and up 4. This might be easier with a pen. There we go. So I go up 4. So my coordinates are always x, y. So my coordinates are 2, 4. Next I go to B. I go over 5 spaces, up 2. So B is going to be 5, 2. For C, I go over to the right 3 points, and then I go down 2 points. So it's negative 2 now. So my point is my point is 3, negative 2, because it's always x, y. Next, I go over to D. So I go to the left, so I'm negative now, my x value is negative 4, and I go down, so it's negative 2. So both values are negative. It's still written as xy, so it's negative 4, comma, negative 2. Notice how everything is also in parentheses. Not alone in parentheses. Always needs to be in parentheses when you're making points. So I'm next on my letter E. So I go to the left, 5, and up 3. Negative 5, positive 3. F, right here, I go over negative 3 and up to 7. So my point is negative 3, 7. One last thing and we're done with the quiz. I gave you a triangle. This was the bonus because this was like the last thing that we went over. I've got 3, 6, and 2. This is angle A. I don't label anything else because this was just a simple, like, see if you were kind of paying attention. So I want the sine of angle A. The sine of angle A is always opposite over hypotenuse. So my opposite, different color, is 3. This directly across is always my hypotenuse. Okay, so my sine is 3 over 6. Now my cosine of angle A is adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse number stays the same. So my adjacent now is right here, adjacent, not the hypotenuse, because a lot of people say, well, the hypotenuse is adjacent too. No, because I said so. No, because we're wanting to find the angle here. We're predicting the angle based off of this side and this side. So, but my cosine will be 2 over 6. And that's how I want you to keep it. I don't want you to break it down or reduce it. I want 2 over 6. And the last thing was tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay, so this is my opposite side. This is my adjacent side. So my answer is 3 over 2. And that's the end of the quiz number 2. Alright, good job guys. Bye.